Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed, lab-proven to work fast, and proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
We're in Wave Media. Welcome back, Midnight Viewers, to Anthologies Attack, where we look at anthologies of every genre. Back with us from his time wandering the wasteland of the cinema scene, the festival circuit, is our good friend Antonio Llapur. Welcome back, Antonio.
G'day, mates, as I was out in the Underverse and the Outland and the... I haven't watched The Road Warrior in a very long time. How you doing, Father? Good to see you.
Good to see you. You've been busy.
I have been busy. We've been playing some film festivals with our short film at Living Ben, which has been pretty cool. We just won the CARE Film Awards, which is, I believe, in West Virginia. We did really well with that, and we're getting ready now to just relax for the holidays and get back into the circuit in the new year.
Right on. That's exciting news. And other exciting news, ladies and gentlemen, and smizmars, this is our 100th episode of Midnight Viewing. As such, we've decided to do a very special movie. And by that, a very terrible movie. This is all happenstance. If I had planned it better, I would have had something fucking awesome for us to talk about. Instead, we're going to talk about a pretty good movie. I don't know. Came out on Christmas Day, 1995. Written and directed by Alison Anders, Alexander Rockwell, Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino. This is Four Rooms.
This year, Miramax Films takes great pride in extending to you an advance invitation to celebrate New Year's Eve at the Monsignor Hotel, where a dozen of the most unusual guests ever will check in.
We have reservations.
And a lone bellhop named
Dead.
on his first day on the job.
All you have to do is hold the fort, and the night's cake. Okay.
Is in for the night of his life.
Okay, Ted, what's the problem?
I haven't got a problem. I've got problems. Plural.
My children are staying here tonight watching TV.
Get a bottle opener!
If something happens to my children, they wouldn't want to be you.
The five of us are a coven.
Like a coven of witches.
An oven full of witches?
A coven of witches! Tell me that's not a face you can trust.
I can't handle this hotel by myself!
Are you saying my wife cheats on me?
I've got to get out of here. We want you to...
I am not gonna cut off Norman's little...
Hell of a night, huh, Ted?
I'm stuck in a situation here which I can possibly begin to explain.
Tim Roth, Antonio Banderas, Jennifer Beals, Valeria Golino, Madonna, Ione Skye, Lily Taylor, Marisa Tomei, and Tamlin Tomita in a new film from directors Alison Anders, Alexander Rockwell, Robert Rodriguez, and Quentin Tarantino. 4 Rooms.
I've had a real bad night.
Really?
This is the anthology I feel that every Gen Xer and every millennial has seen, and every boomer, I guess. If you're over 30, you've seen this movie, I think. It is probably the most quintessential anthology from the 90s, I guess. And more than anything, it's like the most cliche 90s movie ever made. If there's a trope or a cliche or something wacky from a 90s movie, this has got it. I think the only thing it's missing is someone walking around interviewing people with a high-8 camera.
And that person should be played by Steve Buscemi, the only other indie darling missing from the movie.
Right? He's Ione Skye in it, and Lily Taylor, and Antonio Banderas, and just like everybody, Paul Calderon.
It was an indie fest extraordinaire. Let's just set the thing up. It is New Year's Eve, completely unrealized New Year's Eve. In fact, if you didn't tell me that it was New Year's Eve, if the characters didn't say it a few times, I wouldn't know it was New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve at the Monsignor Hotel, where the new bellhop, Ted, played by Tim Roth, is experiencing his first night. And we get 4 rooms, 4 stories, 4 directors, each chronicling what happens to poor Ted. Before that, did you see this movie in the theater?
I don't remember. I'm sure I must have, because my college, we had just started college. I don't know if I did. I think this might have been a videotape one. I don't know. I don't remember seeing it.
I showed this film as a projectionist, and so I've seen this movie 1,000 times. I've seen parts of this movie 1,000 times. I've watched one segment of this movie 1,000 times. Okay. To score this total 90s package, they picked the perfect recording artist. The entire score is performed by Combustible Edison, who were the lounge heroes of the early 1990s. They were the standard bearers. I certainly had I Swinger, their 1994 debut. I played that until it fucking broke. And then this movie came out. And at the same time that this movie came out, and I was so excited to see that Combustible Edison were doing a major soundtrack, and I still am for them, obviously. I appreciate their success. But at the same time, I discovered Martin Denny and Esquivel and the actual lounge music from the 1960s, which is, why are you going to listen to this pale imitation if you can actually just go back and listen to the originals? In fact, they do lots of covers, and God bless them. They took lounge music very seriously, where most artists in the 90s were treating it like a joke, like Richard Cheese and Lounge Against the Machine. Combustible Edison seemed to be trying to make music that was from the 50s and 60s and not of the times. So they're used wall to wall here, some to great effect and some to much less effect. Our first story, though, unless you want to talk about Combustible Edison, you got any thoughts on Combustible Edison?
No, they weren't really my thing, I guess. I was still obsessed with Smashing Pumpkins and Beastie Boys when they broke. I remember when Richard Cheese started breaking. But no, Combustible Edison, aside from the quintessential 90s name, really didn't leave much of an impact on me, I think. I thought the music was just there. It didn't really stand out. It would have stood out more if they would have brought in like some weird Italian jazz or something like that in it. If they would have brought, like what you were talking, some cool ass like Japanese jazz from the 60s or something like that. Yeah, that might have been a little bit more memorable.
Yeah, ultimately they are a gateway drug to the originals if lounge music is your scene, and in my case it really really is. But I still appreciate their place in history. In fact, I saw them perform in Los Angeles a million years ago. They were great. They've been broken up since '99. Ah, just like the entire '90s, I guess they had to go out with that century.
Because again, to the '90s, it was this like and then the swing thing a couple of years later. Like it was the '90s were a weird time. Like you want to try to explain to kids that we were all really into swing music for 6 months. Like we all at least bought one of those shirts and said money a lot. But
The '90s did feel like a time of pillaging every decade that had come previously to pull out the coolest thing that we'd all get obsessed with for exactly 10 minutes.
yeah, there was a lot to be in. Like it was something, and this was all baby internet period. You know what I mean? There wasn't anything really connecting anybody except for zines, really. The occasional AOL chat room. So like the way this stuff just exploded, it was weird. And all of a sudden, one movie comes out and everybody's dressing like Vince Vaughn and talking like that. And then all of a sudden, no, we're into raves now. And they start to, it's just
The funny thing about the entire swingers movement was by the time that movie came out and I went and saw it, I thought, and because that was the scene in Los Angeles the entire time. So in my mind, that was the rest of America. So when suddenly everyone is dancing to Jump Jivin' and suddenly Gap ads are featuring swing dancing, I was like, really? I don't know. It just struck me funny that they were just chronicling what was going on around them, and then that affected everybody.
yeah, I think they just my writing partner Matt Shafferud and I we wrote a nightclub movie set in the early 2000s or whatever. I think if you're 25 and you're out and you're about and you're trying to get laid and have a good time, you're going to write a movie about it. If you're a nascent, is that what I'm saying right? Yeah, nascent filmmaker, you're going to write movies about your experiences. And Swingers was really Jon Favreau. Hey, I'm out in LA. I'm a struggling actor. Here are my struggling actor friends, and we stink of getting laid, or I stink of getting laid. And there you go. He built his career on it.
Yeah, that was ultimately one of the benefits of the independent film scene that was burgeoning in the early 1990s. That was a good that was a good product. A poor product, let's say, starts with an episode entitled "The Missing Ingredient" in the honeymoon suite here at the Monsignor Hotel. This one is written and directed by Alison Anders. This one stars Ione Skye, Madonna, Valeria Galino, Lily Taylor, basically all the female wonder darlings. They're a coven of witches. They've gathered in the honeymoon suite to resurrect a goddess. Each of the witches has brought an ingredient. Ione Skye is supposed to bring semen, but she's still a virgin, so she swallowed the cum. That's the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that. I think I remember I was just crushing so hard on Madonna in the early and mid 90s and late 80s. Yeah, pretty much about the 2000s. Anyways, I loved Madonna. Yeah,
In a
she was my
rubber
big
dress.
crush. Yeah, and in a rubber dress. And I'm just like, oh, I'm all for that. And I remember there was boobs, Ione Sky boobs, I guess. But wow, it really doesn't play anymore. Like, I'm like, wow, these are all white ladies and they're annoying and there's not a lot of interest going on here. I thought it like Agatha all along did that segment better on Disney Plus last month. That was they were much more entertaining witches on that show than this. But this is one thing before we even get into this whole movie, what I noticed about every filmmaker in this is they all reverted back to film school, or that I'm going to be experimental and try all of the wacky shit that people do in short films that really don't make any sense and make short films. They all did them in this movie. The only one that really works is the Rodriguez one, and the rest of them, wow. And the Rodriguez one barely even works, but at least it's entertaining. But I think they just all fall back and everything is really gimmicky. And I don't know, there wasn't a lot of soul or charm in, which is weird because she's really good. I still think about Grace of My Heart and what a great movie that is, or how harsh Mi Vida Loca is. She's a good movie maker.
Oh, and the sublime gas food lodging.
And the gas food lodging, yeah. So I don't know. I think they're just I think they just all got high, did some cocaine, and we're gonna just do whatever. Because this wasn't exciting at all. And the ending was like really abrupt. Oh, here's the girl now, and then cut.
The last day that Reservoir Dogs played at my theater, Quentin Tarantino and Alison Anders attended. And they came out into the lobby, and I was speaking with Quentin Tarantino for some time and then stepped back while somebody else was talking to him. And then I noticed that Alison Anders was standing there. And I said, I'm so sorry I haven't acknowledged you. This must be really annoying that everyone thinks he's the genius. And she said, no, he's just really hot, right? So she was very cool, and I love her and I love her work. But yeah, you're right. This is a nothing of a thing. This is more than a nothing of a thing. This is an episode about the power of female sexuality that plays coy with female sexuality. It's all sort of winking, blushing, not in any way taking control of this situation. What ends up happening plot wise is she fucks Ted and gets him to come into the cauldron, basically. But it's all like dancing around it. She doesn't even say, you're here to fuck me. He has to do this whole routine where you got to go in and entertain her, quote unquote. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's 1995. I'm pretty sure I remember nobody was a prude in 1995. So I don't know why they're trying to be cute. I feel like she's going for like almost a cartoon of almost like a highly stylized cartoony situation, much like Rodriguez did with his. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But yeah, it was like the jokes were stale, that nobody had any chemistry with each other, and it was just really weird. And everybody poo-poos Madonna as an actor, but Madonna played Breathless Mahoney, so anybody could kiss my ass. Breathless Mahoney is amazing in her weird kind of Madonna kind of way. So I know Madonna can. I know Ione's guy, okay. But Lily Taylor is fucking amazing. And she's boring. And she's the most interesting one.
I like Ione Sky a lot, actually. Yeah. The thing is, you're right. I think the script is written as a cartoon. It's not directed like a cartoon, though. Not just the fact that it's very sort of standard setups on what is clearly a set. That's a big fucking no on Midnight Viewing. It don't make it look like a set. This is a fucking major motion picture too. We're usually dealing with television series that get 2 days to film something, and if they can make a set look like a fucking real space, then so can Alison Anders. That was really disappointing on the rewatch, actually. And then the only visually interesting stuff is there's a bunch of montages like of the witches dancing set to Combustible Edison. That stuff's great, but
I liked the montage. You're right. It was pretty, but there wasn't a lot going on.
No, and that's pretty much it. Oh, let's step back for a second and talk about Tim Roth here, because he is our character. He starts off effectively silent, as if we're going to get the bellboy with Jerry Lewis, where he's just going to wander through the frame. And that's what I was expecting, but that goes out the window almost immediately. He starts talking crazy. But his performance in the start, and in this episode in particular, is so frenetic and weird.
It is weird. I remember liking it when I was a kid. I'm thinking, man, he is just a ham and cheese sandwich in this thing. Like, he is all over the place and getting progressively more British as the movie goes along.
Now that I actually like. The more he gets worn down by these fucking horrible guests.
Or the accent.
Yeah, the accent just goes out the window. Like all pretense goes out the window. But he's so ticky, and I don't know. It's a lot of actorly business going on here. It's a lot of attempting to be like Alec Guinness in the early Ealing comedies or something, and just not quite nailing it.
I did. I took British cinema one summer in college, and we watched a couple of those. The Lady Killers. Yeah. I'm going to take a break here, and I'm going to do the Tim Roth Appreciation Society because I love Tim Roth.
Feel free.
He is always borderline overacting. So he takes it to the point where if he goes an inch more, it's going to be too much. But where he's at, like Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes is one of the worst things you'll ever see, except for that unbelievable makeup that Rick Baker did. Like, it is just, I can see why he retired not long after, because I don't know if he's going to be better than that. And Tim Roth as Fade or whatever his name
General
was.
Fade.
General, he is, dare I say, magnificent. And it annoys me that he hasn't played more of those roles because he is unreal in it. I'd love to see him do a Batman villain or something like Cobra Commander or something like so stupid and over the top that I know that he would just make it delightful. I have loved him and Gary Oldman, obviously, since Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. As a high school 90s theater kid, that was like, you had to watch that movie or else you weren't allowed to be in the class. So like, I watched that movie repeatedly as a kid, and I watched it last year on Prime.
It's a great play to begin with. It reads like water. It just flows. And those two guys at that time, I think that movie has problems. I think Tom Stoppard wasn't the guy to direct it. I think it looks really good, and I think they're great in it, but there are some problems to it.
Sure, but I don't care. They're so good in it that I don't.
It's a performance piece, and you're not going to be let down.
And in this one, I think it's the different directors handling the same character, giving inconsistent direction to him because he's all over the place. It is just frantic, his performance. And had he just played it like Jerry Lewis, or even better in a more Buster Keaton wide-eyed innocence, I might have played a little better. Oh, four directors is a lot, man. I don't know about anthologies and different directors. I like one director making five different little movies in there. Maybe that would be an interesting thing. I don't know. I'm just talking out loud, I guess, thinking out loud, but
I'm of the mind. I've been doing this long enough now that I'm of that mind that for an anthology to truly work beginning to end, it has to have the same director at the helm. If he wants to change the style of each segment, fucking fantastic, go for it. But it's a little much when you task four separate filmmakers to come up with four separate plot lines and then jam them all together. I think it can be done if they then hand their four scripts to a fifth screenwriter who then weaves all the stories throughout and turns it into a real movie and then lets one of them direct it.
Yeah, that's a little more, makes a little more sense. But that's why Pulp Fiction is a classic, because it's an anthology, one vision, though.
That's why Creepshow works so well.
That's why Creepshow works so well. That's why The Ballad of Buster Scruggs works so well. And those are four different movies in there, four different styles. One's a musical, for fuck's sakes. But man, one of them is No Exit, basically. But like,
Antonio, we really ought to be doing Buster Scruggs for the 100th episode here, but
yeah, I know. But no, I think Four Rooms is appropriate because I think this is one that everybody has seen. And it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to take the piss out of something. But yeah, that Alison Anders bit just fell flat. But Tim Roth has moments of greatness in here. There are little splashes of great Tim Roth stuff in it, but for the most part, he's just hamming it up with no guardrail.
He gets a little bit better in Room 404, The Wrong Man. This is Alexander Rockwell's contribution. Here we have, okay, the setup is he gets a call to come to room 409. It's actually room 404 that he enters. And there's a party going on with Lawrence Bender turning in a terrible performance in a film littered with terrible performances. Tim Roth, Ted, finds himself in a hostage situation. Angela, played by Jennifer Beals, is tied and gagged in a chair. And David Proval, always fucking fantastic, David Proval, is her husband Siegfried, who is convinced that she's having an affair, and he's decided that Ted is the suitor. Wackiness ensues.
Wackiness ensues, and oh, I love Jennifer Beals, has been in my heart since I was 9, 10, 11 years old when I saw The Bride, which is a really cool take on the Frankenstein movies, and I recommend it. I haven't seen it in a million years. Man, I was in love with her in that. Everybody's all flash dance. I'm like, no, The Bride, she's so pretty in that. And
Clancy,
then she's just,
Clancy Brown as the monster in The Bride.
That's right.
He calls himself Victor.
Yes. And the guy, David Rappaport.
David Rappaport. He eventually committed suicide, didn't he?
He sure did. And I remember that.
It's a drag.
Yeah, it's a real drag. It's a good actor, too, man.
I love that movie, The Bride, as well. I've liked her off and on. It depends on the role, depends on the performance. Having rewatching this, I loved her here. I thought she was fucking great. I remember from initially seeing this movie that the first two segments were okay. The Rodriguez one was great, and the Tarantino one sucked. That's what I took away. And now I took away the Alison Anders one is potentially the worst one here. This one's really good.
Yeah, I found myself enjoying this one a little bit. Richie from The Sopranos, every time I see him, I just like, oh, hey, it's Richie. All right, he's going to be a scumbag. Let me enjoy. It was some weird twists in there. I thought the gay stuff was like, there's a lot of weird gay jokes in this movie. Like even beginning with the Alison Anders one, she's like, "You're not my mother." She's like, "Yes, I am." Then why are you sleeping with me? And then it just keeps going through the Tarantino one. We're not going to ask you to do any weird gay stuff. And then this one, have I slept with another man? It was a lot of that. Was that just the 90s? Everything was gay jokes, huh?
Yeah, that's everyone getting used to gay, talking about gay people all the time,
Which is weird because like Alison Anders movies are pretty queer. So like, I don't like.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they're slamming gay folk here. I don't think they're punching down at them.
But I think this is the first time, folks, they're getting used, like you say, they're getting used to.
It's entering the conversations now, even in hostage situations with potential cuckolds.
But Jennifer Beals, her performance in this movie is probably the best one in the movie.
Absolutely.
Consistent.
Her character reappears in the final segment too, and just reinforces what we're saying right now. She's definitely the best performance in the movie. You know how good her performance is? She's good with the gag.
She has the prettiest brunette eyes in the world. And she uses them so well. And she just tells a story with the eyes. Yeah, she's really good. I was happy to see her on The Mandalorian. Was she on The Mandalorian or Mandalorian a couple years ago?
It might have been Boba Fett.
It was Boba Fett. She played a madam on it in Star Wars.
Yeah, and then they killed her.
And then they blew her up. And I'm like, no. And she is got to be pushing 60 and looks as good as she did in the 90s, man. She's a beautiful lady. And I've always been sadder that she isn't Julia Roberts.
That's a really good point. You're right.
Because she's such a good actress and she's so endearing and she's so lovely. I don't understand why she wasn't in 100 rom-coms. I don't know why she doesn't have an Oscar or anything like that. I never got it.
People wrote her off because she didn't do that dancing in Flashdance.
Yeah, they wouldn't let her. Who could do that dancing
Who could do that dancing in Flashdance? Look, ultimately, they should have cast the dancer to perform the dancer's role and cast Jennifer Beals in some other thing later, which she would have done anyway.
You find that there are certain actors and you wonder, man, why weren't they bigger? What did Julia Roberts do that she didn't to get those parts?
I'll tell you what. Julia Roberts has a smile that is wide enough to fill up a television screen.
That is true. But Jennifer Beals' eyes are big enough too for that. So I don't know.
A smile conquers eyes. An inviting smile over a smile with the eyes, a surmise, if you will win every time. So that's why a big doe-eyed person like Mary Elizabeth Winstead is only going to get so far, but someone with a smile so wide that it seems like the top of their head is going to fall off will always get more attention.
I think that's a fair assessment. I do. We'll get to another one who I hold in kind of the same level as Jennifer Beals when we get to that interlude when Ted makes a phone call. But I'd like to get back to finish up this one because Alexander Rockwell, I don't know. That should have been Kevin Smith, probably, I think.
In retrospect, yeah. I mean, he was making some movies at the time. Louis and Frank what did he do? Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I take it back. He did In the Soup, which at the time with Seymour Cassel and Steve Buscemi was as about indie 90s as you can get. And it's a really fucking good movie.
Okay, there you go.
So I think off of the back of that is what he got. Also, Seymour Cassel came to my theater to see In the Soup because we put it out and I did this actually. I said, put his name over it, Seymour Cassel in the Soup. And he came into the theater specifically to thank whoever put his name above the title.
Oh, that's great, man.
And then a month later, when the marquee came down and we put up something else, he came in again and was like, what the fuck happened? Where's my name?
He's such an underappreciated character actor in Rushmore.
Oh my God, as his dad, heartbreaking.
As the dad is the most beautiful, heartbreaking, understated and subtle performance. You wouldn't think that the delivery of a line, do you like that mustache? Are you fond of keeping it? Would be so magical. But that man somehow managed to make that simple line sound like Shakespeare. Like, oh my God, he's just such a lovely actor.
Yeah, and he was in an episode of Flight of the Conchords called The Tough Bretts, where they're trying to form a gang. So he's a representative of old school gangs, what they used to be in New York. He used to be part of the Little Enchanters, which I highly encourage everyone to go check that one out. Yeah, that's how Alexander Rockwell got involved. Ultimately,
he was married to Jennifer Beals at the time.
Was he really?
And I Googled him after watching it. And
well, thank God he was, because whatever got him in this movie was the right choice. Like, I agree. Somebody like Kevin Smith or any dozen other independent filmmakers might have filled in here. And Kevin Smith was at Miramax too. So it's weird that they didn't just port him on over.
Yeah, I've always felt that like people love or hate Kevin Smith. And I've always really admired him because even though not everything he's done is perfect, but he just made stupid shit about stuff that he liked. And he got in there. And I feel like he would go home pretty early while these people were out partying and cooking up stuff like 4 rooms. He was already passed out, or he was back in his room with his wife or whatever girlfriend he had. You know what I mean? I always felt
Yeah.
like he didn't belong in the room, and he knew he didn't want to even be in the room.
This
Like,
film does feel like 4 people sitting in a room together at a party going, yeah, I got an idea. Well, I got an idea. I got an idea.
So I think maybe that's it. I got my Tarantino. It was for me. It was that trinity of filmmakers at that age. It was Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, and Kevin Smith. Those were the 3 guys that said to me, "Go be a movie maker." I give you permission to say, screw the fact that your folks don't have money to send you to a great grad school. Screw the fact that you don't live in LA and don't really like living in LA because it's big and it's scary and you're very anxious. You can still do it. Wherever you are, you can do it. It took me a while to figure out how. 20 years later, I finally think, okay, now I figured it out. But
they set you on the path.
They set you on the path, and to them, so anytime they make anything, I will always be there for them. Tarantino has probably had the most consistent of careers. Even I've been hanging out with some more filmmakers lately and some younger folks, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't really like Tarantino." I'm like, "Really? How did you? Is it just our generation that just went bananas for him, and then everybody afterwards don't like him?" I don't know.
So there's hope.
There's hope. On the Kevin Smith front, they're finally going to re-release Dogma, so that's my favorite movie of his.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a Catholic school kid, so I liked all that bananas Catholic school stuff. Even though the movie suffers in spots, and Clerks is a masterpiece, but I have a really soft spot for Dogma.
We'll have to have a conversation about that at another time, sir.
I also like Red State a lot, but
I think Red State's his best thing.
Yeah, Red State should do more stuff like that. But anyways, back to this one. So we've gotten through Alexander Rockwell's thing. We know that Richie from The Sopranos, what's the actor's name?
David Proval.
Is so menacing and so silly.
Simultaneously. How is that possible?
Yeah, I don't know how that works. And his chemistry with Jennifer Beals is great. So this might actually be the best movie out of the bunch.
I kind of think it is.
Yeah, now that I rewatch it as a grown-up, I'm like, okay, this is a more mature film. It's a more complete film.
And speaking to what you mentioned about the Alison Anders thing, each of these segments is written like a cartoon, but only Alexander Rockwell and Robert Rodriguez understood that they needed to make that visual as well, because there are flights of fancy moments here. Like when Ted first walks into the room, he gets cold cocked with a gun and suddenly he's drifting, and we get a scene of him floating in the clouds holding a baby who's also dressed like a bellhop before he comes back to Earth.
Yeah, it's trying stuff, and it's not half-assing it. I kind of feel Alison Anders' bit was a little half-assed, and Tim Tarantino's bit was just shot on cocaine, because that is the most half-assed thing I've ever seen. I'm like, I can't believe who directed that. I can't believe who shot that.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, but back to this is very complete. I think he understood the assignment. It's not perfect. It drags a little bit, but it's pretty good. And I like the fact that it all starts off with misunderstandings. You know what I mean? It plays like a proper screenplay.
Yeah, a little screwball comedy.
Yeah, and it's a little screwball comedy. And even has a nice surprise at the end. He's like, I was faking it, but I know you love me. And then they have this kind of weird reconciliation, and then it ends all wacky. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I found myself, that's the one that I forgotten had existed.
And this one is plain speaking and frank when it comes to sexuality, where the last one was being all coy. This one could have been coy and gotten away with it. Instead, when Jennifer Beals gets the gag out of her mouth and she's like, come on, Ted, when she's trying to get revenge, she's like, well, come on, whip out your cock. He's got a huge cock. Like suddenly everyone's speaking frankly like adults.
Yeah. And she delivers that so well.
Oh my God, she's killer in that scene.
Yeah. She is, which is weird, and like she's got more agency than the witches do.
Yes,
she's a more confident woman and a better written woman than the witches are, which is weird. She's not very well written in the Tarantino part, and she's just a Tarantino woman in that scene. But we'll get to that. Her presence carries.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No, it does carry over now, because having rewatched it as adults, just like this one is so much more elevated in my mind than previous, just her presence in the Tarantino one made me like that this much more, just this much. You can't see, folks, but the fingers are very close together.
Like I'm crushing your head.
Exactly. Mid crush. Okay. Speaking of crushes, Room 39, The Misbehavers, written and directed by Robert Rodriguez. Not going to take anything away from this, even if I'm pumping up the fame of The Wrong Man as the best segment in this movie. This one's pretty fucking great.
This is the most memorable one. This is the one that everybody remembers as being the good one. I think the Rockwell one, I guess you got to appreciate and look back through another lens or what have you. But this one, yeah, this was the one that I remember liking. I didn't like it as much this time. I thought it was really uneven and sloppy, and the jokes weren't funny.
Yeah, it needs another pass through the editing process.
Yeah.
Even though this is at 24 minutes, the shortest segment of the entire thing. You can always tighten it further and further. Running time is a big issue here, and we'll talk about that sort of near the end. But the story here is Antonio Banderas and his wife, played by Tamlyn Tomita, are going out to a New Year's Eve party. They have two children, both dressed to the nines, who are terrible misbehaviors, and they need Ted to watch them for $500. Not $300, $500. It is a frenetic cartoon where any and everything will go wrong. Oh, I forgot to mention the other star of this episode. On the television, the dancing girl featured that the young boy is not supposed to be watching. That's Salma Hayek.
Oh, wow. Really? Is it? I need to go see that again. I didn't even notice that.
I noticed her immediately. Really? And when I first saw the movie. And so I've seen this segment a million times. I don't know how much of the story I've seen. I'm just always scanning for the TV.
This is right before Dusk Till Dawn. No, you talk about the editing, and it's Robert Rodriguez is a really good editor. So that's shocking that it's not as good. Like it's the pacing is off. Some of the stuff is great there. Like when the little girl's dialing the phone and he does those really quick inserts. I love that shit. It really gives you that Rodriguez flavor to it. And Antonio Banderas is like at his coolest, and he's an underrated actor. He's very good. He's got great timing, man. Like his comedic timing is great. And he's good with those kids. This is the audition for Spy Kids, this short, because everything that happens in this short happens in Spy Kids.
I will say this, until the revelation of Jennifer Beals' fantastic performance here, Antonio Banderas' performance was the one that I always remembered. Yeah. The close-up of him saying, behave, it lives in my mind. Yeah. If I hear the word behave or behavior, Antonio Banderas is there to say the word for me.
And his mustache is spectacular.
And he's really funny here. And I just, on the roundup, I just talked about the movie 13th Warrior, where way underrated. And he's fucking great in it.
That online and in conversation, that movie for some reason was like, oh, that's garbage. And I'm like, I remember watching, I guess it flopped. But I remember when I saw it, I'm thinking, oh, this is fucking great.
At the time, the budget was reported at $150 million. The producers claim it was $90 million. It ended up only making $60 million. So yeah, it was a flop and it was easy to dismiss, but I don't think it was because of the quality. I know that it was a troubled production and that the first assemblage was really bad. And so there was lots of reshoots and recuts and whatever.
It made its money back eventually on the lucrative home video market that no longer exists and has murdered Hollywood. That's why everybody's broke in the studio system. They don't have DVDs, the VHS tapes to sell anymore. And like all you got it goes from the movie theater to HBO in 3 months. What is that? I had to wait a year before it was on HBO when I was like 6 months. It came out on video.
Yeah.
Like that was a great system.
And then you had to buy it or rent it.
These studio system is become a corporate thing. And when the pandemic hit, they attacked it like a corporate thing and just gave us everything so we could get in and start spending money, but then realize that now we're spoiled. We want Netflix only now. We don't want to go out into the theater, and we don't want to wait 6 months for video. We can just get it on Netflix. My TV's 100 inches long now, or whatever it is. I've got a movie theater in my house. Who cares?
It's going to be hard to get a movie like Four Rooms made. I'll tell you that.
It is absolutely hard. I don't know. Netflix seems to throw money at an established filmmaker, but they were established indie filmmakers. So it was a different world. Like the indie scene of the 90s was magic, man. It was awesome. Granted, there's a lot of evil behind it now when you learn about Harvey Weinstein and his...
Yeah, but Miramax was a big part of the indie scene, but they weren't the only part.
Only ones. Yeah, no, I remember when I first started, I took meetings at Artisan. That was the other really good one. There was a bunch of little houses. It was cool. But the idea was like you can make a movie and get it into Sundance and someone can give you $1 million for it. And now you've got money to make another movie. And that pipeline now is, yeah, only Sundance is the only place that you're going to play and you can get a job at it. But even then, you're not going to necessarily get $1 million. Netflix will buy it. That's the thing now. Maybe Netflix will buy it, but it's not the same. It sucks because like little art house cinemas were cool. Like it was a great date on Friday night. You go to the movies and you go get coffee afterwards, and it wasn't expensive. It was for everybody. Now it's all luxurious. You get to put your tickets online beforehand. You got $20 to get in there, and everything is. I don't know. It's not the same anymore. It's not cool anymore.
If you were to sell something at Sundance, would you then be the man from Hollywood? Here in the penthouse, we've reached the penthouse, Antonio. The Man from Hollywood, written and directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Before we get to the penthouse, though, we've got to get to Betty.
Oh my God, Betty. Yeah, okay, let's talk Betty.
Because out of nowhere, I'm talking about the other one from the Jennifer, like almost like my Jennifer Beals, like she got a little further than Jennifer Beals, but the great, the beautiful, the multi-talented genius of an actor, Marisa Tomei. That's the other one. Why was she not Julia Roberts? And she won an Oscar right out the bat, and she was consistently good. But she always had starred in stuff and but not Julia Roberts level, not Halle Berry level or whatever it is, that little step above.
I'm comfortable with where Marisa Tomei ended up, honestly. Like, she's always doing consistently fucking good work. Check her out in The Wrestler. She was fucking great in that.
She won an Oscar for that. No, she got nominated for an Oscar.
As well she should. To me, this movie is wildly underrated. Crazy Stupid Love with Steve Carell and Julianne Moore. Marisa Tomei plays a teacher who has an affair with Steve Carell in it, and she's fucking hilarious in it.
And people talk about My Cousin Vinny and her winning an Oscar. Oh, that was bullshit. Have you seen My Cousin Vinny? Have you seen how incredible that performance of hers is? Like, My Cousin Vinny, for one thing, is an underrated movie. Like, yeah, it's supposed to be, it's a goofy comedy. No, it's a really brilliant courtroom movie that's disguised as a wacky comedy. And that's really cool. But she is unbelievable in that movie. It's one of the finest comedic performances any actor has ever given. And for a comedic performance to win an Oscar, that's something else.
I do think
that really something else.
I do think that part of it was the 4 Brits and the 1 American. I think if anything was influenced in that regard, it might have been that, but that I'm not taking anything away from her.
The fact that she even got nominated for that, though.
Yeah, so the sequence you're talking about here is when the Misbehavers finally ends with a beautiful tableau.
That is with the dead girl and I will give Rodriguez that. So like the Rodriguez, he's there, but it needs another cut.
Yeah, but that leads us to Ted quitting, basically. So he goes and calls his boss at her home, but apparently there's been some raging New Year's Eve party and everyone's passed out, and the only people left are stoned and playing a Rambo video game. Sitting in the middle is Marisa Tomei. She answers the phone. She gives great stoned.
Yeah, she does. I feel like somebody is drawing from experience there. She lit that thing, she lit that pipe and just kept looking at the video game and was still on the phone. I'm like, I've seen that.
Method acting.
I wish there was more of her.
I do too. You figure, why couldn't she be fit more in? This is Tarantino wrote this segment.
I feel like that could have been a framing sequence. Like he could have gone back to her more than once in the movie, and it might have given a bit more of a uniformity to it.
Giving us Ted a little bit more of his own character, where it's not just him reacting to people, but giving us his opinions on what he's going through.
And then Betty is Kathy Griffin.
Sure is. This is not the first role, though. That was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Is it the same? I wonder if it's the same. Knowing Tarantino, it's the same character.
Yeah, probably.
But yes, we get to Tarantino's bit now, the penthouse.
Now, I said it's written by Tarantino, but really it's written by Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl had a short story adapted into an Alfred Hitchcock Presents called The Man from the South. And that is what they're playing on here. We've got a rich asshole Hollywood. I guess he's a movie star. He's not. Is he a director or a movie star?
No, he's a movie director. He's basically, I think he's a director. They don't really explicitly say. They just say his new movie opened at, and his next one is going to open at. So I'm assuming he's playing a director.
Yeah, I don't know. It's vague, but here's the thing. So it's spoiled filmmaker, film actor, or whatever, having his New Year's Eve party. They've placed a bet based on the Man from the South story, the Man from Rio, and which is in the Roald Dahl story. This man has a lighter and he's pretty proud of that lighter. And this old man says, "Hey, I bet you can't do that lighter so many times. I'll bet you my car. You can have my car. And if you lose, I'm going to chop off one of your fingers and keep it." And so it's a very tense thing where the guy's slowly flicking the lighter over and over again. And it ends up getting stopped by the man's wife, who you realize in the last moments of the story and the original television thing that she has no fingers. She has one finger, maybe, that she's been doing this with him. And she actually has everything. The guy doesn't even have a car to bet with. So that's what Tarantino is either thinking we already know or hoping that we don't.
So he's basically doing a meta remake of the Alfred Hitchcock Presents that he saw when he was
right,
like that Bewitched movie with
Steve Carell as Paul Lynde's character.
Yeah, that one, and Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell. So where they're the actors doing a remake of Bewitched, and she's actually really a witch. It's like, okay, so I get where he's coming from. I didn't realize that was actually the thing. God, he sucks. This is terrible. Like, he should be ashamed of himself for that. And like the DP is Andre
Sakula.
Yes, and it looked like a college kid shot it.
Speaking of sets that look like sets, what the fuck?
Yeah, it didn't even look like a hotel room. It was like the lighting was all really harsh shadows that were like not very attractive, and like camera work was shit. And I'm going to put the camera in the corner of the room and I'm going to like awkwardly move it around and I'm going to walk backwards. And I'm like, this doesn't look good at all. And I'm thinking, this guy's awesome.
There's a moment early on where Tarantino plays the lead character, by the way, everybody, in case you needed even more reason not to watch this one. There's a shot where he is walking toward the camera, and the thought being that Ted is behind us, because that's where his eye line is the entire time he walks up. And for the first 3 or 4 lines, he's talking off camera, presumably to Ted. And then he turns to the camera and continues talking as if we're Ted. It is so weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in there. But okay, so you hear me, like, I just want to let folks like why I'm just up in arms about the cinematography in it. Because, like, I mean, this guy shot Pulp Fiction. This guy shot what else? He shot Reservoir Dogs.
He did a whole bunch of Homicide: Life on the Street, which is fucking great.
Oh, I remember that show, absolutely. So, like, he's done a lot of things. I don't know. This is just terrible. It made me mad, I guess.
As his agent/manager popping into the frame every once in a while, we get Bruce Willis.
Yeah, who's uncredited in this movie because sad because he was doing it for
Why
free.
Isn't Bruce Willis the man from Hollywood? Why isn't he playing Tarantino's role? Why hadn't they switched? If they had switched, this would be 10 times more tolerable, right?
A lot better. So the thought I was having watching this is Tarantino lampooning himself?
That's what he wants us to think.
Or is he just acting himself? Because have you heard that anecdote from Fiona Apple?
Fiona Apple?
Yeah. About him and P.T. Anderson high on cocaine, just talking about how amazing they are. And she's just, oh my God. And she ended up breaking up with Anderson anyways, but she's being just like aghast at how pompous and full of themselves these people are and how up their own asses they are.
She described it as hell on earth, I believe.
Hell on earth. And I'm just like, wow. I wish I would have read this when I was 22 years old or whatever, because I might have maybe given myself a little more agency as a young guy thinking, oh, I'm not as good as the Magnificent. Like, no, they're just assholes who got lucky with something really good. They did one really cool thing and they were in the right place at the right time and the right guy saw them.
Over on Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast, we dealt with Night Gallery a lot. Night Gallery had a habit of doing blackout sketches. And now anytime an episode of whatever we're watching, they have the one basic premise that they've stretched out to 22 minutes. We just call it a blackout. And this is that. He saw The Man from the South on Alfred Hitchcock Presents and thought, wouldn't it have been better if the lighter didn't work the first time? There was no tension at all. They just chopped off the finger and then that's the end.
Yeah, like it was a short film written by a college kid. I feel like that's somebody's master's thesis at some 24-year-old dude's master's thesis or his production 3 movie. Like it reminds me of a guy I won't name, but it was the guy we used to go to school with. And wrote his shorts were basically, I heard this joke that Tarantino did in a movie, and I want to make that into something like a short. And it was like a one note thing like that. Like the finger getting chopped off. Or I think it was about a pool shot, but it was a one-note short. I'm like, that's boring. And we ended up doing me and Matt short instead. But anyways, long story short, it feels really amateurish. And I'm thinking, I thought you were Quentin Tarantino. Why did you write such a boring dialogue? It was poorly directed. Paul Calderone is just overacting. Bruce Willis is on the phone, literally phoning it in. And then Jennifer Beals is just wasted, wearing the exact same outfit that Uma Thurman was wearing at one point in Pulp Fiction, with the no shoes, and there's the feet. And I'm just like, you're not letting her do anything. And it's all up to her to do it with her eyes.
Which she does.
Which she does. But man, yeah, what a waste. It's just so disappointing. It's weird. Tarantino makes really good movies, but when he sucks, he really sucks.
Now, I mentioned earlier that there was a running time issue for this movie.
Yeah, this was a half hour long. It's short.
The initial cut of this movie was 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay. Word came down. You can have an hour and 45-minute movie, right? That means 45 minutes need to go. Robert Rodriguez turned in a 24-minute segment. They're not going to touch it. Tarantino refuses to cut anything. The 45 minutes has to come out of Rockwell and Anders.
Ouch. But like Tarantino's is the one that probably could have used the most cutting, because he really just, like, how long does the money counting gag go? It's like a 10-minute gag of him, I got $100. And then they just keep counting more money, but it just never ends. And I'm just like, who's editing this? Why is this taking so long? Why that should just be like 3 shots, you're done. So we stack one money, stack bigger stack of money, big giant stack of money, reaction shot. That's all you need to tell that story. I don't know why he goes on and on and on.
10 minutes tops. That's what that should have been. 10 minutes.
And you know what else this reminds me of? It reminds me of every bad Tarantino ripoff movie that came out after Pulp Fiction.
It does feel that way.
With these, like, with the long theories and the long, like, dialogue about nothing shit. Okay, look, we get it. Royale with cheese. But everything is that. It was like 10 hours of everything he cut out of all the shit from his other stuff. Oh, I really want to use this treatise on whatever he's talking about. I can't even remember. And I watched it this morning. And I've already and he's such a shitty actor.
He really is.
I can't tell you how much I love Inglourious Basterds. I love that movie. I love Hateful Eight. Like, I love a lot of Tarantino movies. But man, he cannot act. When he goes up in Pulp Fiction, it's unbearable. I think he just wanted to say the N-word on screen. There's no reason that his dialogue should have gone on that long. And now to cast himself as the lead, it is, in his defense, he never did it again.
I think that he recognized that this opportunity, doing an anthology film, was the only time that people were going to accept him as the lead. So he went for it. And I admire that, but it didn't help.
No, because then from here, I take it back. He did do it again, because obviously his most famous movie role is next in Dusk Till Dawn.
And he's good in that. I think he's a terrible actor, but I liked him in that movie.
But I don't know how I guess since he's playing, his brain isn't quite, like, he's probably a little underdeveloped and a little undercooked, because I can't imagine him and George Clooney being brothers. But then
he turns into a Frankenstein monster instead of a vampire.
He turns into a Frankenstein vampire. And then, he did write I'm going to write the hottest woman in the universe's role to put her foot in my mouth.
Listen, any of us would have done that.
I would have picked something else.
Oh, sure. Depending on how well I knew Salma.
Right? Oh my God. I don't know how I've been able to direct her. I don't know. Like, I can't help it. I'm a hopeless romantic. I really am. And man, Salma Hayek is something else. Still to this day. And before anything more, she's really good actor.
Salma Hayek?
She's a spectacular actress. Yes, absolutely. And everything she does is spectacular. Her comedic timing is wonderful. Even in those stupid grown-ups movies, and she carries herself really well in those. And I would like to see her direct more. Frida is great. She's awesome in that. She's just, I've always thought I think she's rated. I think everybody appreciates Salma Hayek, and no one's going to say anything.
How could they? She's fucking awesome. I mean, and look at her.
Yeah, and just I follow her on Instagram.
On top of everything else, because she's a really good actress, right? Yeah. And she's a great producer, and you look like that. Stop it. Just stop it.
On 30 Rock, when she plays the nurse.
Oh my God.
She's so funny.
Gonna have to do a Salma cast.
Yeah, that's Alpha Cast. Oh my goodness. But this bit is such a disappointment in all levels. It's just too bad. I'm glad they had fun making it, I guess.
Evidently, there were some, like, let's say, bruised egos here now, because you two have to cut your shit down. In fact, Antonio, there was supposed to be a stinger at the end that harkened back to the Alison Anders story. There was another bit with the goddess that was supposed to occur. And Tarantino announced he would be directing that. And Alison Anders was like, "Well, it's my segment. Why would you be doing that?" And he was like, I'm just doing all the incidental stuff." So I don't know how good friends they were at the end or are now or whatever, but
Yikes. Oh, I don't know. Who was the goddess?
Diana was played by Amanda de Cadenet. She was a presenter of The Big Breakfast.
It's a weird movie. I don't know how that even came out. It was like almost like it was like not even finished.
Feels
Like,
that way.
the best part of the movie was the cartoon stuff at the it was the animated stuff at the beginning. They should just made the whole movie a cartoon.
Yeah, it set a vibe that the rest of the film could not handle.
Couldn't live up to it. I think it wanted to be that and it couldn't. And that's a hard thing to do. Like we just did a 48-hour film challenge. We've never done that. Like we're really meticulous filmmakers. That's why we don't have a huge filmography because we take forever on everything. So I'm like, let's see if we can just bang it out. And we did, and we got through it. It's funny and it works. Making shit funny is hard. And it's not for everybody. And I don't see anybody with comedy chops in this movie. And I feel like they're trying to make broad comedy. And the only one who gets broad comedy is Rodriguez, and Rockwell gets it a little more, but nobody really.
These are four unfunny filmmakers making a comedy. This is Steven Spielberg making 1941.
Yeah, this should be a Marx Brothers movie. This should be a Jerry Lewis movie. Like
That's exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, this takes place on New Year's Eve. Where are the festivities other like than one room where it just seems like a bunch of assholes screaming over music?
Lawrence Bender has the same credit in this as he does in Pulp Fiction.
What is
Long-haired yuppie scum.
He does seem that way.
Good on him though. He made a lot of movies. Is he producing still?
Glorious Bastards. He did Capone. He did Greta. He's got a movie coming out called How Kids Roll.
He made my college years. His movies made me happy.
The Golden Raspberry Award.
Oh, did it? And well deserved.
No, because they gave it to Madonna.
She stunk.
Yeah, but I can think of 1,000 other worse things. Worse.
Yeah, it was in the outfit.
How about the set decorator? How about they get the fucking award?
I've seen shorts shot in hotel rooms in Vegas.
Most of these don't look cinematic at all. Alison Anders and Tarantino's, the bookends of this, just seem like they're from television series.
Yeah, they're really flat. And I'm thinking again, the pedigree. Like the guys that just made Pulp Fiction come do this. I just assume cocaine.
I assume something.
Alcohol.
Yeah, I do. Cocaine seems like that the movie would have energy. This movie has no energy.
It doesn't have any energy. The only one who had any energy is Tim Roth, and he had
a little too much energy at the start.
A little too, yeah. He was like doing this whole like physical thing where he was just, I don't want to say spastic, that right word, but it looked like he was having seizures as he was walking around. It was really weird, man.
This is just proof of the anthology model. You're going to have ups and downs. And in some cases, the downs are so down that you might not even recommend the movie. Do you recommend it?
No. For Alison Anders, I go recommend. Is it Gas Food Lodging? I Love Grace of My Heart. You know, definitely that. What should we see from Alexander Rockwell instead?
In the Soup. Check out In the Soup immediately. It's great.
What about Rodriguez? What's your favorite one from him?
Ooh. Might be From Dusk Till Dawn, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say Dusk Till Dawn is great. I'm a big fan of Once Upon a Time in Mexico. It's an interesting movie.
I like these Spy Kids movies.
Yeah. I like Sin City a lot. We did an episode on Sin City. But From Dusk Till Dawn I think it's really cool. It's a jarring transition in there, but man, I always thought it worked. I always thought it was really unique and it played really well. I don't think Tarantino could have directed that though.
Oh no. So that's Rodriguez. How about Tarantino? Recommend over this?
Inglourious Bastards. I love Inglourious Bastards. I also am very fond of Jackie Brown, and I am fond of those two Kill Bill movies. But
if I were to recommend a Quentin Tarantino movie, I would do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think it's the best thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us here at Anthologies Attack. Antonio, when you're not here and you're not out there slugging it out in the cinematic universe, where can people find you if they're looking for you?
You can find us on Instagram at Swamp Media Group and at swampmediagroup.com. Or if you're interested in watching our movie online, you can see it at our movie Space Detective. You can see it at Stop.
Right on. As for me, if you want to support this show, you can do so by giving us a 5-star review or telling some friends about it or writing something nice. Or if you're a little more financially secure, you can hit us up at patreon.com/Father Malone. Subscribers get episodes early and commercial free. And we have some great bonus Patreon stuff coming up, like HP, the composer of our music here and a host of Night Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast, will be joining me. We're going to be taking a look at stage plays that were produced on television. So you'd see these a lot in HBO and early Showtime, where they would film a production on Broadway and then play it there. So we've got some really good episodes on the way, folks. Thank you for joining us here at Midnight Viewing Anthologies Attack. 100 episodes.
Congratulations.
Good night, y'all.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.